Good afternoon, good morning. My name is William Perez. I'm going to be presenting the SAP Solution Manager 7.2. We're going to go over the features, talk about it, why we need that, why this is important for you, and then we're going to go through a live demo, then show you a little bit on the system how that looks like. Okay, so just give me 1 minute here. Let's go over the next slide. Okay, so a little bit about Core ALM. We're a global consultant firm specializing in SAP Solution Manager, IT application management, lifecycle management. As you know, application lifecycle management, we have Solution Manager and a lot of other tools out there that third-party integrated with Solution Manager. We're a consultant specializing in those services and products. Okay. When we talk about the service that we provide, so if you look at my screen, it covers or involves the whole life cycle, right? From the process project and portfolio management, business process management, we have the test management, ITSM change control management. That's the topic we're going to cover today. Then we have DevOps, design and UI and development and different developments that we can deploy on top of Solution Manager. So as far as the engagement that we can do with Core ALM, we have different ways to engage with the customers. We have fixed cost, time and material, managed service. It's a different product we serve for some customers. So if you want to learn more about it, feel free to contact us. We will be glad to explain you more in details. And like I explained earlier, we have Solution Manager as our central platform for ALM, and we have a lot of other products out there that's ALM also products, right? So they can be integrated to Solution Manager. We serve and provide service beyond Solution Manager ALM, third-party tools. So HP, While, Redwood, OpenText, everything you can imagine that's out there, which can be integrated with Solution Manager, we also serve and provide services around that. About Core ALM, as being recognized, we're one of the best consulting firms when we come to ALM, right? We've been recognized as the 20th most promising ALM providers in 2015, and third year in a row we won one of the Pinnacle Awards finalists. That means we're one of the best consulting firms recognized by SAP on what we do and how we deploy services. We're also SAP certified in application management services, and we're also SAP certified in run SAP implementation. So that just shows you that, guys, we have credibility, where we know what we do, and what we do the best. Okay. As far as the agenda today, we're gonna talk a little bit about the requirements to deploy, how the process looks like, and what exactly that looks like in Solution Manager, how that integrates with all the different processes, and how that relates to reality today, right? And then we're gonna jump into the change request manager, because that's where the management, all the development happens, and how that's integrated with requirements. Then I'm going to jump into the system, showing you some highlights on the requirements deployed, going through charm, going through some actions, so you understand how that looks and feel how that integration really happens behind the scenes. Okay. So in a second here. Oops. Okay. Just a second. Oops. Yeah, you guys are going to get a question on your screen asking about Solution Manager. So this is a polling question. You just need to select yes or no. So we're going to use that to get some information from the audience today. Okay. I know we should be done in a few seconds here when everybody responds. Let's see. Shouldn't take too long. Okay, so we're good. We got thanks for answering the polling question. So when we talk about requirements management, change management, Solution Manager, ITSM is the guy behind the scenes actually holding is our framework. So charm runs on top of ITSM. Requirements management now is part of ITSM. So the ITSM is the main guy that's supporting all the different processes, that ITL 15 process that is certified by SAP. SAP was one of the first companies in the world to be certified with all the different processes, right? So charm runs on top of ITSM, requirements management runs on top of ITSM. So here just shows you what that means to you. That means when you get charm, when you get requirements management, there's way more possibilities of different tools and things that you can do beyond charm that can be integrated, or it's there. It's just a matter of you needing, okay, now I need to use service tasks. Now I need service level management. Now I want to do knowledge management. All these pieces out of the box can be integrated to your whole process, to manage your whole life cycle from your IT environment. So that's the benefits when you go with a different tool out there, which is not a charm. So if you go manage your change through RevTrack, for example, so you're losing there, because now if you want to establish integration with any other part of the process, you've got to do some customization, deploy some APIs, do some add-ons, and it's not going to be really, at the long term, it's going to cost you a lot of money supporting all those different integrations. So that's the benefit when you go with Solution Manager as your platform to manage all the different service and type of chains. Okay, when we talk about change, in Solution Manager, we have different types of change, right? We have SAP standard change, which is your enhancement package, your upgrades that, as best practice from SAP, we should do it every 6 months. That's what SAP suggests. Every 6 months, you should do your enhancement package, your upgrades. Then you have your different projects, innovations. You're introducing new codes, new programs, new developments into your SAP landscape. So, and that can happen 1 to 4 weeks. Every customer is different. Can happen every 2 months, every 3 months. And you have your everyday change, right? You have an emergency that you need to fix the system. How do you manage that change today? Do you manage by using spreadsheets? Do you have a built-in house system that controls all that? So that's the question. How do we manage? Do we manage it successfully? Yes, no. What are the challenges? What are the pain points we have? And so that's where requirements management, along with charm, comes to resolve any problems that you may have today. Okay? So right on this slide here, what I want to show you is that when we talk on the change control management, charm is one puzzle of the triangle that I'm showing here. Change control management Solution Manager covers several different elements that makes this area as a complete area. So some customers, it depends on the requirements or the maturity level. They will use everything. Some customers just use like a couple puzzle pieces, and that depends on every customer. So I just show you that there's so many different features and tools in the change control management area of Solution Manager that you can use to manage successfully your deployments. And we're going to go over some of them so you understand the differences. So as I showed you previously, so let me load this guy completely so I explain you. Okay, so this basically I told you. So you have your foundation CTS to CTS Plus at the first parts of your configuration, and everything can be deployed on top of it. So what I mean by that, so let's imagine, William, I just want to charm now, but eventually I want to do retrofit, or I want to do quality gate management, retrofit, charm, and I want to also use release management. So those are all the different combinations that you can deploy on top of the transport management of Solution Manager. So it's going to be based on your requirements. It's going to be based on your maturity level. Are you ready for dual synchronization? Are you ready for release management? So it takes sometimes, every customer is different, but it's showing all the mix and match you can do as far as change control management. So when we talk about requirements to deploy, here's the thing. So a lot of customers before SAP introduced requirements management as a standard tool in 7.2, how they were collecting requirements. You were collecting requirements through emails, you're collecting requirements through spreadsheets, or you're collecting requirements through your ServiceNow ITSM system, and then, but those tools probably they were not built ready for collecting requirements, right? They didn't have a workflow for requirements. So SAP understood the need for first, how do we collect requirements, and that requirements eventually turns into a change document, and that change document eventually gets deployed into my production. So as if you look here on my screen, right, on the gray part, in the gray area here is the instance. So before, what you could do, or in 7.1.7.0, you could create an instance. That instance create a problem. That problem could become a request for change, eventually assigned to a release, and then a change document, then be deployed. So now in 7.2, what you can do, you can get your requirements from a business requirement document, which is a form which has all the fields that was designed for specifically to collect requirements from the business. So your business would come in, enter their new requirements. The new requirements would turn into an IT requirement. So the IT department would translate that, understand the requirement, and that could be integrated into your PPM project, because now in 7.2 the integration is even better. Before in 7.1 you had to do some additional configuration for that. So in 7.2 is more straightforward how this integration works, right? So then from your IT requirements, you can come in and create a request for change, right? And the request for change will turn into a change document, and then eventually will be deployed into production. But the difference, now you can collect and you have traceability and visibility from the very early stage of the process, from the business requirements all the way to deployment. So it's very easy to identify who worked on that, who requested, what was requested. Everything is collected. Every step is in logs in the Solution Manager. So it's very, 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 very helpful for the audit team to understand what was done, when was done, who approved it, who didn't approve it. It's really helpful. Okay, I'm going to show you that in the system later, how every single step looks like and how these documents are created as a follow-up of each other. Okay, and as when we talk about the change control management, because we have business requirements and IT requirements, and eventually you jump into CHARM, because CHARM is the module in SAP that manages your deployments, right? So CHARM, as some of you guys may know, but it supports all ABAP systems and no ABAP products out there. So imagine anything that's hybrid, HANA, Java systems, any type of objects which is not SAP objects. SAP CHARM now in 7.2 even better, because it covers much more objects than 7.1 because of the new technology that are being delivered by SAP and non-SAP companies, right? So CHARM is always up to date to support you on that. And what's really cool about CHARM, as one of the key things when we talk about CHARM, why do I want to have CHARM? Why CHARM is so important for my corporation? There are four few reasons here that a lot of customers are looking for. You want to have a better approval management, right? You take too much time approving documents today. You don't have a clear, or it's not really transparent, or it's not really safe how we approve documents going to production. Transparency and traceability. I want to know who did what, when it was executed, how long it took, and I want to be able to trace that back and forth anytime. So ensure system consistency, right? And consistency is really important. You want to make sure your systems are not overlapping or downgrading or crossing objects, or you're not causing any problems with safety when you're deploying objects in your production environment. And having one central place to manage all that is really good, because now you don't have tools all over the place to do one thing, right? I want to just manage successfully my deployment to production. Why I have to choose two or three different tools, or things that are not really connected or integrated into one process? So CHARM is one process, one tool, it's one source of truth. So that's reliable, okay? And then when we talk about non-SAP object, here's an example. CTS Plus, it's a tool, it's a framework in Solution Manager that allows you to manage non-SAP ABAP objects like Portal, HANA, business objects, and some applications that you may have running on your own. So SAP allows you to integrate that, do a close coupling of managing all non-SAP objects through CTS Plus. So when we talk about, hey William, one of my challenges today, I don't have, how do I run reports against how many transfers are happening per day or per system? What is my backlog, or how many transfers are failing, how often they're failing, what type of objects are in those transfers, right? I want to know what type of objects are being transported, and all this stuff. All this is different statistics, different things that you want to know. You want to know what's going on in your environment. You want to have a dashboard that tells you that every day. You want to see what's going on with your change environment. So Solution Manager out of the box gives you a lot of different reports and dashboards for you to have this visibility, right? You don't need to build an additional reports. You don't need to pay additional tools to have that type of visibility. You now, when you implement Charm, requirements management, you're going to get a lot of different reports to give you this different information they're looking for. Very important, very helpful, okay? So this is another slide that talks about what I just told you. You have different dashboards, different KPIs that you can play around to collect all this different information. It's really, really cool. And then one thing that we've seen a lot of, one of the things that a lot of customer comes to CoreALM and they ask, hey, we have an N+1 environment, we do a lot of projects, and we want to understand what Retrofit does. How can we reduce time of doing our dual synchronization or dual landscape maintenance? So Retrofit is the tool for that. So basically Retrofit will automate and synchronize every development that happens in your maintenance landscape into your project landscape, and it's going to be automating over 90% of the objects that are created in your maintenance. What that means, all the work that your developers are doing today in your maintenance will be automatically retrofitted, copied into the project landscape without having to have that developer redo the work. That means a lot of time of the developer is going to be saved, and that means a lot of money that you're going to save because you don't need to have that person dual maintaining the project landscape. So Retrofit is a tool that you can enable and use to save a lot of time, and there's a lot of other benefits, reducing risk. It takes care of sequencing. It takes care of the cross-object locking, so you're not gonna, if you have multiple people working different projects, it's gonna warn you, it's gonna tell you. You have a very clear understanding of what's happening in all multiple projects in your environment. Okay, so we have a polling question that's come up on your screen right now. As far as change control management, you're gonna get a question, so if you can answer, please. Okay. Let's wait for you guys to answer so we can continue. Okay, a few more seconds. Okay. I think we got everybody. So, okay. Thanks everyone for answering that polling question. So the reason I asked you, or we asked about that question, because if you do have, if you take a lot of time to do get innovations for SAP, right? You have a new enhancement package, a new upgrade, or any type of innovation that SAP delivers. How successful you are, how fast can you deploy that innovation to your environment? Is your business unhappy with the innovation time, how long it's taking, or too busy trying to manage all the transfer that's involved when you do that? If you did answer yes for one of this question, the question that we answer on the screen today, or one of the answers on one of the questions that I have here on the yellow box, what that means you have a lot of potential, or a great potential to save over $100,000 per year. And why we say that? Because when we have innovation environment, we have the dual landscape synchronization. We have tools and features in Charm that will save you time. Time at the end of the day means money. So here's an example of why we're assuming that. So you have if you're a company that have an average of 2,000 transfers per year, so and 80% of the transfers can be synchronized automatically. That means you don't need to have people taking care of the synchronization, dual maintaining, creating that, taking care of that process, because Charm will do that for you. Solution Manager will take care of that for you. So if you have an average of saving 30 minutes per transfer by automatization, so if you multiply that by the hourly work rate that you have an employee working for taking care of that, you could actually come up easily to over $100,000 per year. Here's an example how you can justify why I'm going to invest this amount of money in Charm, because there's so many benefits. You know, besides of this money at the end of the day is very important for us to make decisions. But overall, you're going to have a much more successful deployment. You know, less headaches. You're going to have clear visibility to what's going on with your change management environment. So now when we talk about CHARM, right, change request management, there's three things that happens when we get into the change management, the change release management process. So that I'm just, let me clarify something here. Right now I'm talking isolated only CHARM, because what I showed you before was requirements managed along with CHARM. So you can use CHARM standalone if you want to, but if you want to take advantage of the requirements management to be part of your process, you can also, okay? But here in the screen, I'm just showing you CHARM standalone, how CHARM standalone works. So you have a request for change where you collect why I'm requesting that change. That request for change will turn into a change document, which is where I'm going to define how many transfers, what type of change will be involved. And then eventually that's going to be part of a cycle and be deployed into my production. This is the 3 steps, kind of a high-level overview of how the process in CHARM works. Okay? When we talk about CHARM, there are a few types of change that out-of-the-box standard that we support. We have normal change, which is your daily, could be your daily maintenance or your every week, bi-weekly, every 4 weeks type of change, implementation projects, right? And there's phases that controls that. So it's a little bit more controlled, and that you want to move phases as you progress with the work. There's urgent change. Urgent change, the name itself tells you what it is. So you have deployments that can happen every day in your environment because they're emergency or they need to be deployed tomorrow because it's a production fix. So you have urgent change types. Then you have admin change types, so documentation, administrative activities, things like that you want to manage through the workflow, but you want to document through CHARM. Then you have general change that are change that you like mobile device, printers. So there's a few things that you can also manage through CHARM if you want to use the workflow, you take advantage of the tool. And you're doing the project, right? You're in the test phase of your implementation project. Then you found an issue. Then you have something called defect correction. So when you're in the test mode of your project, then you can create a defect correction document to fix that issue. So those are the standard out of the box change documents that CHARM would give to you. Okay. So you definitely relate yourself to every single document here as you read each box. So, and as we talk about the change types, we have all these change types that I showed you previously, where every change type can be assigned to different different cycle. Cycles are different containers that can be, they'll be executed based on what type of change we're doing, right? So we have the continual deployment. The continual deployments are the ones like that deployment that happens daily, right? Or on demand. Right now we need to deploy something in production, or something that happens daily or weekly. That I not necessarily I want to control by phase. I don't need to go through a test phase because I don't want to hold everybody to do a test synchronization of the development. Now that's one type of a cycle, continuous cycle. Then I have a phase-driven deployments. Now I have a project that I want to introduce a new company code into my SAP landscape. And that project is going to take 2 months, right? But I want to have control of the build, test, deployment, and all the different phases. I want to keep control of what people is doing. So when I go live, I move everybody together and synchronously, I know what's happening and I go live with the project, bundle everything, and then I don't have any issues with sequencing and downgrades, missing any transfer that could be part of that project. And we have release management. That's something also related to if you do want to manage your releases through CHARM now in 7.2 is possible, and I have that specific cycle just to take care of that. Okay, so then here's a summary of all the different benefits that CHARM gives to you today. So CHARM can support you all the different objects out there, ABAP and non-ABAP. Transfers of copies is it's a mechanism that SAP has built in order for you to reduce the amount of transfers going to production. That's part of your normal change. It's a little bit more in details, but this is a good feature for you to reduce number of transfers when you go live, when you're doing a project, right? Reporting, different capabilities of reporting that in dashboards out there for you. Critical object, we can enable critical objects to warn you every time someone is touching a specific type of object in Solution Manager. You want to get a warning on your screen. Hey, don't do this, because, or if you require an extra approval because you're touching a security object, right, or a BW object. And the Retrofit tool, I already told you, great tool for you to get and save a lot of money and time. And downgrade protection is just helps you to make sure your environment is consistently safe. So you're not downgrading any objects, you're not overlapping any object. So you make sure things are happening consistently and all the way to deployment. Okay, so I'm going to show you something now because that's what I'm going to show in the system in a few minutes. So when we talked initially at the presentation, we talked about requirements all the way to deployment. The user story that I'm going to show you here on the screen is what I'm going to go over in the system layer. So you kind of relate what this workflow looks like now, and later how this actually looks like in the system. Okay, so as you imagine that today you have in your environment SAP, someone from the business needs a new requirement, right? Hey, I'm a business guy. I need a new development or a new report or any type of requirement that can be managed through SAP. Then this person will define a business requirement. We create a new document in Solution Manager, put all the information. That requirement will go through a validation. The requirement will be approved. That requirement will be eventually handed over to IT. And then we're going to track that business requirement. So what SAP did now, that business requirements will eventually need to be taught. They will talk, the IT department and the business, it now with requirements management piece, it allows them to commit with each other, okay? So when I get to the handover to IT, my business say, hey guys, this is what I need. Can you check and see if this is possible? All the requirements, all the documentations here, let me know if you can get this going. I really need this. So then you get a translation from your IT department here on the green piece. Say, hey, I received your business requirement document. I'm reading about it, okay? I'm translating that. I'm validating, the IT guy is doing that. And I understood what you need. And I already defined the scope, okay? So here is the scope that I'm gonna define based on what you need. So when the IT and the business decide what really needs to be done, they commit with each other, and then the IT says, hey development team, this is what I need. Here's the document, please go ahead and create this for me, work on it, right? So then the IT sends a document to the developers, to the development team for them to start working. So just a highlight here, what you see on the developers, that's where we jump on charm, okay? Let me go back very quickly. This top part here is business requirement. The yellow and blue is business requirements. The green piece is IT requirements. When I go to the kind of red, orangish color here, that's when I'm jumping to charm. So every part of the process is connected, okay? So just so that's what it gives you an understanding of how things are connected. Once it goes to charm, the work starts, the execution of work starts, right? Then my development team staff start working together. Eventually my tester will test it. Eventually that change will deploy in production. So when my change document, my deployment has happened, what's going to happen? The requester who will request the business will change, hey, I got my development in production, looks good, thank you. My IT architect will say, thank you guys for working on it. And my business requester expert will say, thank you, my business requirement was done and delivered, thanks so much. And that's the end of the cycle. So everything's connected, so you have traceability and full visibility of this whole process. You can go back and forth and search for any information that has happened through this whole process. As you notice, there's different roles, different people that is involved during this process. And that's, and the workflow can be customized to your needs. If you have a specific workflow today, you want to make that exactly in Charm, not a problem. Charm is super flexible for that. Okay, so I'm going to jump very quickly into the system to show you what those three documents look like. Okay, then we can jump back to the presentation. Let me just go back here on my SolMan. Okay, so this is my Solution Manager 7.2 running on HANA. Let me open my work centers. Okay, so it's opening my work centers. Just give me a second here. Okay, let's load this. Logging here very quickly. Okay. So what I'm doing now, this is what you can see here for who hasn't seen 7.2 yet. This is our work centers. Now it's our Fiori Launchpad. Everything is in Fiori here. So I'm going to go to the change management area. There's so many different areas that you can load from the work center, right? As you probably have seen in 7.1. This is the security. If you define your security, you're gonna customize the screen as you need or as you want to see. So if you're a change manager only, so you're gonna only see change management. Right now I'm seeing everything because I have all the different authorizations, but you can customize the screen as whatever you wish. Okay. So right now, what I'm gonna do, there's several different options here because change control management, change manager, it's so complex and so you can go really deep, right? But I'm going to go high level of the 3 documents that I showed previously on the user story. So let me go to the change and release management tile here very quickly. That's going to open the CRM UI. That's where the ITSM, this is my ITSM holding all the different processes and tools, right? So it holds my requirements management and my change management. So the first thing I want to do, I go to requirements management area here, and as very standard from SAP, you can search and create requirements. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to search for an existing business requirement, okay? Let me search for an existing one so I can show you what that looks like. So let me click here very quickly. Then if I scroll down and come here, let me open this guy here, new OTC report, just to show you what it is. So here's the first thing I want you guys to observe. So this is a document, this is a business requirement document. The first thing is you guys observe there's a status review here. This is new in 7.2. In 7.1 we didn't have that, was just the status here you could see here. Now you can see from the top. And that tells you exactly in which phase of the process we are running right now. Which phase of the process we're standing waiting for action. Are we done here? Can we go further? You know, so we have a clear understanding what's going on with the life of this document. So right now, this document, I created this document. It went through all this phase: define, submit for validation, being checked, hand over to IT. If you remember that workflow that I showed you earlier, those are the different steps and things that happens through the life of this document. As we move across the different status here, different people will be notified. Different people in the organization will need to take action and come here and move forward or backward, right? So right now, this document went through all these different phases, right? So this document, someone came here, defined, submitted, being checked, then committed by IT, and then right now it's being accepted. So what that means, accepted, that my business requirement reached a certain status in the workflow that my IT accepted it and decided to work on my requirement. Before I go any further, let me show you the structure in the body of this form. So we have all the general text here with who is working on it, who is my business process expert, who is my business manager, categories, processing data. All this information can be customized as you need, right? You have the priority, you have the status, you have some dates here. You have the general text where you can enter a lot of information based on what you're requesting, put all the details here, right? Then attachments, you can attach documents or links as you need, right? This is very helpful in case you have ServiceNow or Remedy out there that you want to integrate that link into here. Just copy the link here. So that could be helpful. Solution documentation, if you want to link any part of your hierarchy or solution documentation related to this requirement to help whoever's going to be working on that requirement later on, you can link that. This is new in 7.2. We didn't have that tight integration with solution documentation before. And two things that are really important here that I like to give some special highlights is the processing log. So you want to know who created, who approved it, what was done, when it was done, how long it took. So everything that has happened to the life of this document will be documented here. So we know exactly the time, who did it, when was done it. If someone tried to approve or do something that you don't have authorization, you're going to see also here, okay? So now let me give you one thing that's for you to understand the linkage. We're in the business requirements. When the IT requirement comes in, so when you come here on the workflow, through the workflow here on the top, let me put it in edit mode, okay? So when you come here on the workflow and move the actions through the actions button, because right now I reach a certain status that it doesn't let me go any further because it's waiting for my follow-up document to go a little bit more forward to allow me this document to move back or forward, right? So this guy is in accepted. That means my IT requirements document has been accepted. So when I reach here on the handover committed by IT. When I reach that status, what Charm does for you, it comes here, okay, automatically in the related transactions and create an IT requirements document for you, right? So through the workflow, you reach handover to IT. When it does that, your IT people, your IT group will receive a new document called IT requirement. So now let me go to the IT requirement document, okay? So now this is my IT requirement document. Someone from the IT received this document, went through all these different steps, right? Committed back and forth with the business requirement because there's a whole synchronization of those two documents. My IT came here and came and read the text and everything else. Say, hey, it looks good, everything's fine. I can see here on the related transactions that all the documents that it's related to this guy so far. I see, oh, you guys haven't attached anything, or this is the solution documentation regards to this requirements, okay? And there's a lot of other information here. If I want to check the logs again to see if someone else has worked on it and if it's been, it has been rejected or how long it's been in the certain status since the creation of this document. So this is my IT requirement document. So my IT requirement document also went through several steps involving different groups and people to the point where they say, okay, I'm ready to submit this for implementation and I want to get this implemented. When you get to this point in the workflow where you reach implement, what that does creates a charm document for you automatically. So this is everything is synchronized, everything is connected. So if you reach the implement status of the workflow, you went through different people, through different approvals, through different phases of the process, then you would come in here, you would see that charm, that Solution Manager would automatically create a new document for you, okay? So if you look here, I have my business requirement document, which was my initial document, and now I have a new document that was created due to the phase that I'm reaching right now. It's an urgent change document. And this urgent change document was defined by my IT people when they were defining the scope. So my IT people said, hey, business, you need this, but in order for me to deliver this, I'm going to need an urgent change document. When you reach implement, Solution Manager comes here and creates the urgent document for you based on what you define on your scope. So now my IT said, hey, I want an urgent document. Charm created a document for you. I'm going to click on the urgent document for you. So what the charm, now we're in the change document. It's an urgent change. So from created, it's being moved to in development. There's a lot of different information here. It's very similar to the previous document I showed. In the implementation data, if you remember before, I told about the different cycles. We have maintenance cycle, we have a continuous cycle, we have a phase cycle, we have a release cycle. If this guy was related to a phase cycle or to a release cycle, that's where you would assign the different cycle of that change document. There's a lot of different information here in regards to this type of document, right? We have a developer, we have a tester, we have the two operator, we have the change manager, and who's currently processing it. We have the status in development, right? And we have the priority, and everything else is very similar to what we've seen before. And other things that now that we're in Charm, we're actually getting to the point where we need to do development. We need to log into the managed system. We need to go and work on the object, right? So as you can see here, there's different sections or different blocking sessions. So the first blocking session shows what systems are as part of that landscape that I'm doing development right now, right? So if I put display all systems here, shows as part of that cycle that I selected before, because the cycle can be, I can create a cycle for all my BW systems, for my PI systems, for all my ECC systems. So let's imagine I select my ECC system there on the cycle above. Then that's going to be listed here, and that tells you where we are with this process. Right now, we're in the development system, right? And there's no risk so far as documents or things that has been created. And what that allows you to do, allows you to, from here, the developer can log in directly to your managed system and do the development. When the developer is done, you can come in here and move forward and move this document to testing. Let me go here. So you can see, after the developer has done the development, it's going to be sent to for testing. Then the tester will receive an email and confirm or not if it's been successfully tested, right? So, but you're asking, so okay, but where is the the transport? So if I go here, let me show you here. So here's where I would create a transport. So if I come here, let me put an edit mode, okay? So, and if I say here, okay, but I don't see any transfers. What do I need to create? So can you create multiple transfer, multiple tasks? Yeah. So that's where you're going to come here, create a new transfer, say, hey, for this development, I want a workbench request. For this request, I also want a customizing request. And these are the developers that I want to be worked on this process, okay? So once you click create, it's going to create your transfers and associate those transfers into your change documents. So as you can see here, now if I did that, the transfers here, the transfer is available for the developer to go in and make developments and assign it to this transfer. So once the developer is done, he can release it, move forward, pass to the tester will confirm or not if it's been successfully tested, then eventually go to a change meeting review, then that change meeting review eventually will go to deployment through the workflow, and you can see everything happening from from the landscape, along with the processing logging. So here you know what's actually happening to the life of this document, how long it took. Okay, so this is just to give an idea how connected and how tight the whole process from requirements to deploy looks like, right? In development, then eventually this will be here, importing to production, confirmed, different people will be notified, different people will work on this process to make it happen safely and with full traceability and one source of truth. I hope that gave you an idea what the process looks like and how the look and feel of CharM it is. So I'm going to go back to the presentation because I want to show a few things here. So now let's say, what are the benefits? I don't have CharM today, William. I want to implement CharM. As little as 4 weeks, we can get you up and running with basic standard CharM. So what are the out-of-the-box benefits? Or what are the things that I'm going to get right away with value? So a tight integration with service desk and change request management. That will give you but resolve problems by triggering change requests. So you have everything now being documented by change request or by your business requirement, by your IT requirement. So that is a very high benefit. A lot of customers, they don't have anything that collect other information. You can get right away by enabling CharM and requirements management in your landscape. So you're now in you can carry all your chains through the proper testing in the right order without risking anything in your production environment and using SAP best practices. So this is a high value too, right? So you prevent a lot of duplicates and downgrade protection, a lot of issues with people doing different projects and you don't have visibility to who is doing what and step on each other's toes. So this is also something you can get out of the box. Improve quality. Overall, if you have CharM and requirement management, the quality of your IT environment is going to be increased a lot. A lot of customers get really happy because they now have a much better process of managing their chains and their overall IT is managed successfully. And this 50% reduction in approval time. So you get you save a lot of time in the approval. These are some of the value that you get out of the box. There's way more that you can get when you implement CharM in your corporation. Okay. So what's next? So we showed you today a little bit of the requirements management, right? How the process connects to the CharM piece, and there's a lot of more that you can see. There's a lot of more integration, a lot of more capability that can be integrated or used in CharM along with requirements management. Some of them are release management. That's the next webinar that we're going to be presenting. ITPPM. Do you use ITPPM? Do you plan to use ITPPM? That can be fully integrated. It's very nice, very helpful. ITSM integration. You have ServiceNow, Remedy, or you use ITSM Solution Manager. This is fully integrated. This is really nice and really cool. I showed you initially at the beginning of the presentation how all this 15 process can be integrated together. And the upcoming webinars, we have a release and transfer management on the 16th and custom code management on the 2nd of March. So feel free, and we would love to have you on the next upcoming webinars. As far as a few other things that you guys would be great for you to know, we have something that if you want to see more deep dive demo of what I showed you today, we can do a customized presentation to you. So we understand your requirements. I show you specifically what you're looking for. Then I would love to get some emails from you guys. Say, hey, William, can you schedule a demo? So for me to show you more details, all these tools and capabilities in Solution Manager. We also offer a 1-hour solution assessment. So we really understand your challenge, your issues, your goals, and that we give some guidance and what you can do and the benefits that you're going to get out of that. And as also we offer you Jumpstart package for requirements management along with Charm. We have as little as 4 to 6 weeks. We can deploy Charm in your environment, make you to have a good feeling about the tool without investing too much, so you can have the initial deployment of that tool run in your environment. Okay, so it's high value, low cost, quick delivery. It's really cool for someone that's looking for an immediate start of this product. So I'm gonna open now for Ivan and so questions, or anybody that has any questions, please feel free to ask me now.
Yeah, thank you, William, for your presentation. Now we'll be going to answer the questions that were submitted during today's presentation. As a reminder, you can still submit questions through the questions pane in your attendee control panel. First question is from Pamela. You need a donor option. Oh, I guess this is for the poll early on, so she's like saying that we need a donor option. Okay, that's good feedback. I'll put that into send over to the marketing team, and we'll implement a donor option in our polls. Okay, so another question from Sud here. Is it possible to capture UAT screenshots to fulfill audit requirements?
Yes, like UAT, yes, screenshots. Yeah, like I showed you, there are several areas in Solution Manager where the logging information for the auditing is collected. So there's different sections in the document that we can definitely extract that for your auditing, for UAT. Yes, I believe that's what you're looking for, and you can extract that from SolMan in a couple places.
Okay, great. Hope that answers your question. I have a question from Robert. Our company has numerous SAP projects running in parallel. All these different release schedules, are you saying that Charm can bring organization and structure to a requirements development schedule and releases of all our SAP projects?
Yeah, so that's correct. So requirements management along with Charm and release management will take care of if you have multiple projects, different schedules in the structure of the company, it doesn't matter how complex you are with different environments. That's the goal of Charm and release management along with requirement management, to manage all the different releases, synchronize them, successfully deploy them, so you have a clear understanding what's happening in your change environment. Yes, that's the goal of all those 3 tools.
Okay, great. I hope that answers your question. I have a question from Animesh. Is it mandatory to have requirements management along with Charm, or Charm can be implemented standalone?
Yeah, so not necessarily. Some customers don't need to use requirements management. Like let's imagine, hey William, I don't really feel using requirements management at the moment. I'm just looking for Charm itself, okay? So yes, you can, it's optional. You don't need to use requirements management in order to use Charm. Requirements management, it's an additional element of the workflow that you could potentially use to make your workflow from more extensive, but that's not mandatory. It's optional. You can use Charm standalone, or you can use with requirements managed together.
Okay, sounds great. Question from David. Are there functionalities to manage business requirements requests? For instance, prioritization of requests.
Sorry, can you repeat, Ivan, one more time, this question?
Oh, sorry. Are there functionalities to manage business requirements requests? For instance, prioritization of requests.
Yeah, so it's the requirements. So if I'm understanding, if there's an option, when you use requirements management, if there's a way to prioritize and that request, well, here's Solution Management has out of the box some different options how you can prioritize your different documents using the standard fields and different features of the document. But we can always enhance the document workflow and fields and texting to make that adjust to the customer requirements. So if you're looking for a way to prioritize the requirements, and there is already a standard out there, but if that's not enough, you can always adjust the workflow and the forms to be for his needs.
Okay, hope that answers your questions, David. Can ask a follow-up question if you need clarity. So I got a question from Ami. Is 7.2 required for S/4HANA implementation?
Well, this is 7.2 is required for S/4HANA implementation. So I think this is not necessarily a question for change management, but I don't think so. I mean, but this is something I can follow up with my other the other group in the Core ALM company, because this is more towards how Solution Manager in regards to S/4HANA, if they support each other, is the requirement to have 7.2 to have S/4HANA. So I know that 7.2, as far as covering different objects, managing different objects, we cover all the different hybrids, S/4HANA, any HANA objects, and CTS Plus objects out there. But as far as using S/4HANA, if it's a need to have 7.2, that's something I can follow up. Even if we can grab his email and information, we can follow up with Donik and come back to him.
Sure. Yeah, we'll do that. A question again from David. How does SAP Activate fit with what we saw today?
Activate? You mean? I hope you're talking to the methodology. If you're referring to the methodology, so Solution Manager now, with the way this has been designed, the workflows, the whole process, the best practice for SAP, the ITL process, everything is integrated. It follows it fits the best methodology, or SAP methodology, the agile and active methodology. If you're talking about that, yes, we can. The way we manage change, the way we do the whole process of requirements to deploy, it follows under those two methodologies. Because we've got some customers asking that, so if this falls under my active methodology, can I use the methodology that I have right now using SAP Solution Manager? Yes, and active methodology, if that's what you're asking for, is one of them.
Okay, hope that answers your question, David.
Yeah,
I have a question from Chen Ing. Is it mandatory to have requirements? Oh, sorry. Also, how long will it take you guys to implement a standard requirements to deploy in our company?
Yeah, so like I said, we have something called jump starts. You can get as little as 4 to 6 weeks. We can get you up and running with requirements to deploy. Of course, it's not going to be customized with a lot of customer requirements in place. We can do standard deployment, so that way you know what you have a good feeling of the tool. You play around. You know, so okay, should I keep going forward with this tool? Should I invest more in it? Because some customers, they want to have an initial feeling of this tool, how this thing works. This is really something that our corporation can adopt, and it is going to really help us going forward. So yeah, as little as 4 to 6 weeks, we can get you up and running with that.
Okay, sounds good. Hope that answers your question, Channing. I have a question from Laura. We are a medical devices company, which requires that we have traceability of our requirements to what's actually deployed in the system. Do you happen to see many other medical devices company adopting CHARM for traceability?
Yeah, so a lot of the medical companies and food companies, they require a lot of detailed workflows, approval, traceability, visibility. And I think Solution Manager now, it's one of the best tools. If it's not the best tool, it's one of the best tools out there for you to get the whole package, right? Having the whole traceability, the approvals, digital signatures, and the workflow step by step, very detailed. So Solution Manager is definitely the right tool for you to achieve what you're looking for. If you're a pharmaceutical company or food company, definitely that I understand what you're looking for, and Solution Manager can give you what you're looking for.
Okay, I have a follow-up from Cheng. Is it possible to integrate our ServiceNow ticketing system with requirements management?
Yeah, so ServiceNow, it's a very popular question. Can we integrate ServiceNow with Social Manager? Yes, you can. Especially now that imagine that you're using ServiceNow and hey, William, I don't want to, retire my ServiceNow because I use it and I invest so much money in it, but I want to kind of integrate my process from ServiceNow into requirements management and then into charm and then release management. Yeah, we can do that. We can develop some custom APIs or custom codes between those two products to make as a one single workflow, right? So we've got this question asked before. Yes, if you need to do integration between your third-party tool, service desk tool with Solution Manager, we can help you with that. This is possible.
All right, hope that answers your question. We're coming to the top of the hour. I still see that we have some questions that are unanswered. We will follow up with you offline for these questions. I mean, you can still send any questions if you want to, and we follow up with you. Thank you, William, and thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. As William mentioned earlier, this is a series of webinars that we're hosting regarding SAP Solution Manager 7.2. You can view our next webinars at corealm.com/webinars. The URL is on the slide. We really appreciate your presence here today. And as mentioned, if you have any questions, feel free to contact us. The questions that we did not answer today, we will follow up with you offline. You will also receive a follow-up email shortly with a link to view a recording of today's webinar. On behalf of everyone here at Core ALM and our presenters, thank you for joining us today, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thanks, Ivan. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Thanks, bye.